I was a little kid, probably 1973 or so, my dad racing the Mint 400, and I always remember going out to mile 10 and people making bets about who'd be the first car there, and you'd pretty much always say, Mickey Thompson would be the first car there, but probably never see him again because he'd come by so fast, and that he would end up just breaking the car. I was fortunate enough to race in the Mickey Thompson series in the early late 80s, early 90s, and that's actually where I met Rory. He was a long-haired hippie kid, kind of wearing a mullet, and he came up to me and he had a drawing that he'd drawn of my truck and wanted me to sign it. So I became really good friends with him, and realized that he had such a huge passion for the sport. He was always out taking videos in the desert and drawing pictures of people's stuff, and it's pretty cool for him to definitely get one of Mickey's old cars and restore that, and bring all that history back alive. So it's an awesome thing, and can't wait to see it out there.
Kind of a whirlwind since the last update, because we've sold the 12 car and got some room and some much needed money to get some parts. Was able to order some shocks. King built them in the spirit of how it would be, just regular gas shocks, nothing too out of the ordinary. And even on the front shocks, he did a different mount on the bottom, so it looks more like an old school shock. The original motor we didn't get with the car, nor did we get the transmission. So, and not all that we really know, for the most part, from the magazine articles, is it was a small block Chevy 383 stroker motor. From there, not much detail, but I think we're close. I mean, we're going to run the Holley carburetor like it ran, the Mickey Thompson valve covers, which will be different than the ones that are on it right now, and Excel ignition. We're going to try and get as close as we can with the information that we have. So we're still trying to do that and trying to make it as close as possible, but without any more information. Or this isn't like a 1969 Camaro that you're restoring that they built 2 million of them, and it's a one-off deal. So that's the problem I'm running into. We picked up a 383 Chevy stroker motor. Mastercraft started on the seat. We took the old seat out, just not that there was anything wrong with it. I just didn't want to, I don't know, it just felt wrong to sit in that seat that Mickey Thompson was in. So we had a new seat done. That seat we put off to the side, and we'll put it back in the car after we run the NORA race next year. And Mastercraft also did the transmission shield cover for us, and they're gonna hook us up with the driver's suit. After that, Ironclad jumped on board. Ironclad gloves, the official glove of the build. The exhaust, I thought I was going to have to build a new exhaust, and it's funny because the guy in Kingman, which is only 45 minutes away, he's the one that actually built the exhaust on this, Greg from REF. I've already talked to him, and I started looking at the headers, and there's a couple tubes that are bashed in pretty good. And I'm looking at him, I'm gonna bring him up to him and have him look at him. I think he can just cut out that little piece and weld in a new one, and we can actually use the original headers, because they're in such good shape. He did such a great job on them 30 years ago. I believe they could still be run and it wouldn't be a problem. Now the baffles towards, on the sides there, those are gonna need to be replaced. But the header portion to the collector, they're in absolutely great shape. When we brought it up to the Mint 400 and it sat on display next to the BFG Blazer and the Nova and a couple other vintage vehicles, I couldn't believe the response that it got. I kind of stood back and just watched people look at the car, and it was amazing. I've got a rolling chassis sitting there with the body on it, and here's $600,000 trophy trucks rolling right behind them. And they're sitting here looking at this car that's not even done yet. And a lot of interest. I was surprised. I was surprised the amount of people that were gathering around, the Blazer and the Mickey Thompson car. Cause you could tell it was, back in the day, it was a big deal. It was a huge deal. And it was real nice to see that. There's been 2 NORA races since our first talk. It's going. It's going. Just going to be smart. We're not down there to set the world on fire. We're down there to pretty much a tribute to Mickey Thompson, the legend, the innovator. We're going to put this car back out in the desert, and I think that's what he'd want. And actually, I think he'd want me to bury that throttle pedal all the way to the floor, all the way down. And I think he'd probably be disappointed if I didn't. But that's not going to happen. It's gonna race NORA, and I'm almost positive it'll be 2014. I believe we'll be done with it by the end of the year. We're short a little bit on some stuff, but I think stuff just seems to come together, especially towards the end. We've gotten a lot of interest just since the Mint 400, and the interest is starting to grow and grow, and sponsors are starting to look at it. They're starting to see something. They're starting to see as a rolling chassis with the body on it, and it's something to look at now instead of a bare chassis.
Is it going to be as